Professor, educational institutions such as this one have had a troublesome history in a legal sense in Greece. Are you happy with the change in this legal status that was achieved a few months ago as it was recognized by the Greek state?
We've been working here almost 2 decades now, and we've seen a lot of change in Greek legislation. This, from our point of view, is a major step forward. The recognition, from our point of view, is an acknowledgement of the quality of the degrees that are offered here at IST, and the work we've been doing with IST for a long time to develop the reputation of IST in the Greek higher education system. So I'm very pleased with this progress, and I'm sure it will go further in due course.
Do you think that universities should be privately funded as well as publicly funded?
I think we need a mixed economy here. There's obviously a good role for public sector funded universities, and that's the same wherever you go in the world. But equally, in most countries also, there's a thriving private sector as well. And this is demonstrated in many different countries throughout the world. And I think this is one step forward for Greece, introducing a more structured private sector into higher education. And it's a very positive step forward in my view.
This institution here in Athens is affiliated to a British university. And I'd like to ask you whether you think that it is whether it's possible to transfer the community, the intellectual community that is represented by a university in another campus, in another country, or whether physical contact between teachers and students in a single place is really quintessential to the essence of a university.
I think it's essential that there's a close relationship between the academic staff of a university and the broader academic community, and that means students. And it's that linkage that really makes for the quality of higher education. It's the linkage between the academic expert and the student and the learner. But I think actually strengthened by having the international connection, because it isn't just one community in Athens and one community in Hertfordshire in the UK. There's a blending of the two, there's a mixing of the two, and this helps the international perspective. And higher education over the last 10 years has become increasingly international, and it has to be international. The idea that higher education can remain isolated in one country, that disappeared 20 years ago. And we need to be aware that internationalisation is here, and we need to continue to encourage that concept. And that means a flow of staff and a flow of students in many different directions.
You give a lot of, you focus a lot on the employability of your students, both in Britain and in the other campuses. How do you achieve this, especially in this era of recession?
I think it really is very important for the universities nowadays to be aware of the employability of their students. Going to university is more than just about acquiring knowledge. In fact, acquiring knowledge is just part of a university experience now. It's about acquiring the skills to be employable in this 21st century. And these skills are vastly different from what they needed 20 years ago, or even 10 years ago. It is about skills development and encouraging young people to grow intellectually, but also grow in their self-awareness, grow in their ability to communicate with others from different cultures. And it's a whole experience. It isn't just about the acquisition of knowledge. Knowledge can be acquired. It's the acquisition of skills, and that's the important part.
You've also talked about the importance of universities facing the business community, and you give a lot of emphasis in this as well. How can you do this without losing the academic quality as a primary quality of a university?
I don't think that's a real challenge nowadays. I think modern business in the 21st century, modern business is about knowledge-based industry, is about knowledge-based developments. And I think the closer universities work with business, the more relevant we can become. Universities can become to the needs of our society. So I think it's actually a very strong point, this working together. And the idea that there's two separate groups of people here, one in industry, one employers, and one in university, that's a concept that belongs to decades ago. There's a far closer relationship needed nowadays between the two, because employers need very highly educated people, and they can contribute to and support us in designing our programs to ensure that our graduates have the right employment skills, and they do. All the programs we develop in my university are developed with the support of employers, and that's really important. Now, the academics will have the last word, but the employers have a big input.
So what would be your advice to students who are just getting out of university or who are about to go out of university and they need to find a job in this very difficult situation?
I think it's not just the students who are leaving university facing this. I think it's more important the students who are at the university, right through their career at university, from day one to the day they leave, to be aware of what they want to do in the future and how they want to approach it. So somebody who's coming out of university now, not having thought about employment for the last 3 years, is going to face a difficult time. The students who have been planning what they want to do and developing their self-awareness, developing their skills, developing perhaps their experience by doing some work experience, by doing an internship, by doing a placement, these students have an advantage in the competitive marketplace in which we live. So I think, yes, it's difficult. It's a tough employment world out there. But the quality students who have developed their skills and gone along that track of self-development, they will be the successful ones.
Thank you very much, Professor.
Okay, my pleasure.